I'd like to thank you all for accepting this. And without further ado, I would welcome you, and please go ahead and give us some background about yourself. And when did you graduate? I think most of you are, all of you are IS majors, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Everybody
Management, actually.
management. Okay, yeah, all is management.
I do regret that. I should have listened to you.
lesson number one.
Yeah, lesson number one.
But it was too late because it was my last semester. But hey, you know, I ended up following your path, and I ended up doing something more technical than I expected, not management.
Interesting. I'm glad to hear that.
Well, I could start since you know, I can start with
Definitely,
myself.
and give me some background about your roles, because it's interesting that you guys are also working in different roles. So please go ahead.
Definitely. Well, thank you for having us. I'm always happy to help, and you know, it's always good to remember those good days in the class. I remember, well, I graduated May 2019, and I took your class in 2018, fall 2018, and I was a major of management, actually, like concentration, and I didn't really enjoy it, but I should have kind of gone more of technical background. During my college time, like last 2 semesters, I worked for a company called Zoox. It's currently Amazon, and I used to be a software tester, basically like testing vehicles that drive themselves. Like I kind of spent like a year and a half over there, learned a lot of technical stuff, testing, deploying, writing a couple of scripts, which is I really enjoyed. But during COVID time, the company had to take a really hard decision, which was March, and laid off half of the company. And then, you know, I was one of the affected people. During that time, I was like, okay, I got to figure out something to work with, you know, find a different job. I ended up volunteering, which what helped me the most in finding my current job. I volunteered as a software engineer for an open source company called Fight Pandemic, right? We were building a platform that gives supply and demand, like medical supply and demand for other people who are in need. Everything's for free. And actually, we just launched it last week, which is pretty cool. During my interview process, it was really hard. I did apply for over 200 applications, and it was a tough decision, right? Because I can only remember like 10 of them, like I want to say like 50% responded with, unfortunately, the first word you would see, unfortunately. 10% gave me the chance of interviewing, failed nine of them, and I succeeded in one of them.
Still a good numbers.
Yeah, it was a really good number. Yeah, I think what helped my resume a lot is that I actually volunteered. They kind of liked the idea that I volunteered for free, and this was a boost on my resume, especially for my current role.
So you're right now working as a quality assurance, right?
Yeah. So this is technically quality assurance. However, the naming in EA is very different. They don't refer to people, let's say employees, as the actual traditional names that we actually familiar with. So for example, a software engineer is a gameplay. Could be a quality designer, or what are they else they use? Producer, for example. Producer is a product manager, right? So they have the filming industry titles. So what I basically do, I work with the back-end engineering team on testing and writing small scripts on how, you know, one of the newest mobile games that we are working on that is not launched yet. Hopefully it's by next year. So yeah, a lot of technical stuff from my end, but this is what I currently do. Yeah.
Thank you. By the way, let me ask one thing from everyone. Do you guys see the profile of the, like that slide here on the side?
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we see it.
Okay, great. Awesome. All right. Next one, like Lucero, maybe you wanted to go?
Sure,
next?
I can go. First of all, thank you for having us. It brings back a lot of good memories, so that's that's great. So I also graduated 2018, I think. Yeah, so right now I'm working as a quality assurance engineer and security specialist and at SAP. I originally started at SAP as an intern. I was doing less of a technical role and more of a like management role, basically like creating user stories and following up with different internal users and managing content and things like that. I also wanted to transition into a more of a technical role. I guess I felt like I maybe didn't have the same qualifications as a person that would actually, interview for that. So for like a technical role, you would need to learn a little bit more of coding and like be more familiar with some backend technologies and things like that. And I felt like maybe I wasn't qualified to do that. So I went into a managerial role first. And then once I started getting familiar with things, then I decided to just jump straight into a technical role. And then also the fact that I also went and did my master's in a very, very technical
Nice.
technical. So
you're right now doing your master's in computers.
Yeah, so I just graduated last week.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you.
Congratulations!
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes,
I
excellent.
did my master's in software engineering with a concentration in cybersecurity because very, very late in my career when I was at SF State, I decided that I was interested in cybersecurity. But then again, it was too late to like just completely change. I was, one semester away from graduating. So then I decided to just use what I know from the management perspective, and some of the information systems class also helped me, like network security and all those things, to change my career completely to a more of a technical role. And like I said, at first it was kind of hard to just be like I'm kind of like a more managerial role and then completely switching into something more technical. So right now that I'm working with SAP, I work in conversational AI, which is a platform to create chatbots. We create the platform for you to create chatbots. So we have like different kinds of users.
Which is a very interesting project.
Yeah.
I have been to SAP 2 years ago, I think, and they were like starting talking about this. Maybe like give us like a very quick maybe background on that as well. Like what is that project is?
Yeah, so this is actually a platform where you can sign up. It's actually free to use. You can sign up. It's called SAP Conversational AI, and you can create your own chatbots. So we have different kinds of chatbots. They can be more like let's say like an assistant, like a personal assistant, or you can create a chatbot for like customer service or like a frequently asked questions chatbot. There's different kinds of ways that you can use chatbots. And the fun thing in that is that we carry to different users. So like I said, you as the developer of the bot, you are my user, but also the end user is my user. So we have like different levels that we have to carry to, and that's very good because you're actually seeing like different. You're developing a platform for other developers to develop another.
Right.
So that's kind of fun to do, and then there's a lot of machine learning happening, right? So being able to work with a team that works in machine learning. It's also very nice because I never had the chance to do that before, and to learn from so many great people and so many people that are just excellent at what they do. So I've been with that team for 3 years already. That's where I started my career, and that's where I am right now, and I feel very happy with what I'm doing.
Interesting. Great.
Actually, I met a person from SAP when I was in AMSA too. So that was kind of like
that's
connection. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. We get to that. I mean, I'd like to hear your stories of job markets because I know that they are like really interesting stories. So each very unique, but at the same time, they all have commonalities and similarities that really would be helpful, I think, for the audience to hear, to learn from.
And do you guys still remember John Gerrit?
Yeah.
Jan Garrett.
Yeah. He just like messaged me before the Zoom meeting, and he just want to say hi to everyone.
Oh, thank you. Excellent. Team, maybe you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah, I'm ready.
Absolutely.
First of all, thank you for hosting this. This is very helpful for students for sure. Because when I was a student at SF State, I was always looking for something like this.
Interesting.
So,
thank you guys to make it happen. So.
Yeah, so I graduated from SF State with the information system major in 2018.
2018, yeah.
So because I always wanted to do something technical, so I started my career a little bit earlier. So by the time I graduated from SF State, I already have 2 years working as the webmaster at Associate Student Inc. And before that, I had the internship working as the product analyst at the startup called Sandbox.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's why right after I graduated, I got a job offer from Google. I worked for Google Area 120, which is the startup incubator at Google. So my team and I was successfully build a product from scratch, like from zero to something that was $70 million. So
Interesting.
so I was the only data analyst in the team. I joined the team when we only have 4 people, and by June we have about 12 people.
Oh,
in the team.
interesting.
Yeah. So I was oh, and by the way, starting Monday, I will be joining LinkedIn.
You be what?
I will be joining LinkedIn.
Oh, really? Oh, you're
Yeah.
changing. Oh, interesting. Congratulations to
Congrats.
you too. This is a very,
Yeah. So
interesting point for many
I
of
mean,
you.
during the pandemic time, it's been up and down. So we was a very successful product. We was a very few product at Google that we can generate some revenue on the first days when we launched. But because of the impact of the COVID-19, so Google decided to cancel our product.
Oh, okay.
Because our product was focusing on SMB, like small and medium-sized businesses.
Right.
And during this time, it's like a very tough time for SMB.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why I have an option to join another team, but I feel like it's a time to move on because I want to explore more companies in the industry before I decide which company that I want to work for, for good. I mean, for a long time, not for good.
Right.
Yeah. So as a data analyst in the team, I took responsible for analyze the customer behavior insight, like customer segmentations, and also some identical analysis about our product, such as customer intent, customer sentiment analysis.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And besides that, I was involved in a couple of machine learning projects, as well as some business model, like how you move from a freemium model to a subscription model. What is the pro and cons of each model, something like that. So I'm very thankful to have the opportunity to work in the startup environment, so that I can learn a little bit of everything.
Yes.
Like from marketing, finance to information systems.
Interesting. And what is going to be your new role at LinkedIn?
Yeah, so starting Monday, I will be a operations analyst for the strategic team at LinkedIn.
Interesting. Congratulations again.
Thanks.
Well, Payora, hi.
My turn.
Long time, huh? Long time.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for hosting this. It is really great, and I think this is going to be really helpful for the students. When I was going to college, I remember I would always ask, oh, can I find someone who I can relate to? So this is awesome. So I graduated in 2018. I think we all graduated in the same time, Lucy and Vin together. And my major is information system, and I did a minor in decision science, which is something I pretty much leaned into in my career. Right after college, I worked at Google as a data analyst. It was a Google Play platform where I learned a lot of things. So it was pretty much kind of policing role, pretty much finding risky behaviors who are the bad developers and taking them out from the Play Store and all that stuff. It was a very small team, so I got to know a lot about technical stuff, whatever I had learned from all my ISIS classes and my decision science classes, I was able to put in practice there. I was there about for a year, and then I got this job at Icon Automotive. Over here, I'm a senior business analyst. And I don't know if you know much about Icon Automotive, because I know it's kind of away from as a San Francisco area. It's based off Atlanta. Its headquarters is in Atlanta. they do is it's owned by Carl Icahn, who's like a genius in like share industry. Anyone who follows shares, they always know about Carl Icahn. It's his industry. He owns, this company is a parent company to a lot of auto parts and services. Some of the big names are Pep Boys, Autoplus, AMCO. So they own about like 2,000 plus stores all around the US. All sorts of cool things like that.
So they produce automotive parts?
Yes. And they also have like servicing center as well. So their service areas. They're very known in East Coast. And they have like stores everywhere. First, I was like, wait, I don't really know what Pep Boys is.
Right.
Yeah, they do all sorts of cool stuff. And like they do own like about 150 different small companies in their icon. And I am working in one of them, and I'm leading that team. So it's basically like auto leasing company. We lease our cars to Uber, Lyft, Instacart, all sorts of things. And then our main partner was Hertz before this pandemic happened and it went bankruptcy.
Yeah,
that's when yeah, kind of like tumbled down a little bit, but it gave us new hope about like expanding our businesses to like other industries, right? So now we're working towards that. What I do here is more like it says it's a business analyst, and I know like, well, when you say business analyst, it's pretty much like bridging a gap between IT and the business and doing all sorts of analytics and making sure like recommending some of the good decisions based off of data. Over here, my role is mostly, I would say like technical more than like business side, because we don't have anyone in my team that knows much about like technical. So I have to pretty much build up the database, start from scratch, like create API, communicate with all sorts of things like that. And I think what really helped me like land my first job, which was at Google, was the information system classes that I had taken. Especially, I believe, I forgot the number, it's like ISIS 400, or like the business application class, because people were always so impressed about that particular coding that I had done every time I would go to the interview and stuff. So I think that really helped me. But yeah, like even till today's date, I'm still like learning so many things, and I always go back to what I had done in classes and like, you know, like copy some of the codes from there to like bring it back here.
Interesting.
So yeah, those are, and I'm, you know, like, I'm really happy with this job. It's just been about like 9 months. I started in March, so it's been good.
Interesting. Well, it's interesting that, because I wanted to originally ask you guys about your roles and what actually each of roles, you guys, what each of you are doing in those roles. But in fact, like this is, and then you generously talked about it. So in fact, it's bring us to another question, or bring me to another question that. In fact, I discussed a lot with some of the students, both at this class and other places, when the students talk to me. Very interesting questions sometimes pop up, which again, like I'm really happy that we have like a wide range of different roles. So you have like we have Q&A, QA roles, we have data analysts, we have business analysts here. So it's really good that you guys are working in different areas. I wanted to know that was it a plan thing that you choose this role, or it really like, because again, like sometimes when I talk to the people, most of them, they are really lost. So we have like, 20, 25 different areas at least. That you can start your career in IT, right? You can be a business analyst, you can be like more technical roles to more managerial roles or soft roles, as you mentioned. And a lot of time, like when you are graduating, you have taken a lot of courses, and then you'll see yourself with an ocean of different roles and positions that you can take, and you're like, okay, which one should I apply? Should I apply for coding? Should I apply for QA? Should I apply for and then also on your, building your skills, right? you're not sure which one of these areas to focus. I think this is one of the most important questions that many of the audience have here. So tell me about your stories. How did it end up here? So how did you choose your roles and so on? I'll open it to you guys. I mean, whoever wants to start.
I think.
Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. So I just wanted to mention something that I've noticed, not only with me personally, but also with other colleagues and other, actually with my team members from my master's project. We were talking about this yesterday. Like, you never know where you're going to end up, right? And it is okay to switch careers, You might think that you want to be a manager, like an IT manager, and then you enter the workforce, and then you realize that you don't like it, and that you want to do something else, that you want to be a developer, or that you want to do, QA or something else. And it is okay to switch roles. So that's one thing that you have to be clear, because when I was, starting and looking for jobs, I thought that I needed to apply for only the things that I might be qualified to do, and I never adventured to something else, right? So then I think one advice that I can give you is you can adventure to something else. You can always learn, right? So never be stuck in one position, because you might not end up liking it, especially if you never worked before, if you never had an internship before. So that's one thing. In regards to my experience, again, when I entered SAP, I was there as an intern technical project coordinator. I think that was my role. And I was working with a team, and the team needed a QA. And we didn't have QAs at the time. So then I seen an opportunity, right? Like when I entered the SAP, I realized that I wanted to do more of a technical role. And my role was non-technical. So then I started just looking, like, what does my team need? Does my team need, my team needs a QA. Okay, so let's get started, right? And I slowly started to do more of the QA tasks, like helping with the test cases on the user interface, writing documentation, something like that. It's still not so technical, but it was more of a QA role than a technical project coordinator role. So, and then my manager started to notice, we started having chats, and then that's when I told him, I want to do more of a technical role. I'm going to school for cybersecurity. I want to transition into this. And I was lucky that they gave me the opportunity to transition into a more technical position later on. And then after about 6 months working as a project coordinator, I transitioned into a full-time QA engineer and security specialist. So it kind of just happened where I seen an opportunity and I took it and I ran with it, basically.
I see. Interesting.
Well, I mean, it's usually like that. Like, it's easier to move within the same company to like another role than to get in and sometimes the role that you want to. But I just know that from my experience, and a lot of people I know that they get in roles that for a job, and then it's a lot easier just to cross train into another role.
Interesting. Thank you, Andres.
That's correct.
Priora?
Yeah, I completely agree with what Lucy had said. It is just like you kind of narrowly think about just applying to certain roles right after coming out of college, because you always think I only can fit for this job requirements, and this actually fits what I have in my plate, what my skill sets are. And then you kind of go through there as well. In my case, I had a little bit different because I was already working as a marketing analyst in a company called SalesX in San Francisco, which kind of helped me in a way because I knew I did not want to do anything that has to do related with marketing or analyzing any of their data. And the reason why I chose to have a minor in decision science was I was really into data. I was like, okay, I think I really love analyzing the data, doing all sorts of things like that. But when I was doing it work, I really didn't like it because I was doing all sorts of BigQuery machine learning and all that cool stuff like that too. But I think my transition to becoming a data analyst and slowly transitioning towards business analyst was mostly helping a business out. I think one example would be like when I was at Google, I really didn't like the job, what I was doing there, because I just felt like it was very mundane. I was just doing the same thing. I was doing what I was told to do. And at that time, I realized this is not for me. And I started like asking my colleagues and like, you know, like meeting up with people in meetups too. And then I talked to them about like what is it that they really enjoy about their jobs. And they would always say like the freedom to like, you know, explore the opportunities and like finding new ways to do things and all sorts of things like this. So I was like, well, okay, I'll give it a try. And then I found out about business analyst, which is very similar to what my skill set was, but then it would just mean like more like learning more about business side and more about like financial analysis and stuff like that. So I thought it would be very interesting. And that's where I routed it that way. As like a business analyst. But I think coming out of college, I really didn't have any idea like whether or not I wanted to be a data analyst or a business analyst or even like any analyst. I was just thinking my skill set would probably fit like for an internship, yes, because every job requirements was like 4 years of technical you need to have like 4 years of technical skills or like so many other skills that I never had. And it was just like kind of getting out there and then just like seeing like which one would really fit in and, you know, looking at the jobs criteria and seeing like, oh, like, is this really going to fit in? And sometimes like, I know like I got lucky because they were asking for about like 3 years of technical skill and I only had 2.5. So it kind of balanced it out. But I know it's going to be, it's really hard to like get that kind of opportunity all the times, I think. And not knowing is okay. And, you know, finding something along the way is, I think, how it should be, because you really learn what you want to be rather than just being told ahead of time, like, okay, this is what you can do with your skill sets.
Interesting. Dan or
Just
go ahead.
yeah.
Same question.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with you guys. And I think one of the good thing of information systems is that you can do a lot of things with that major after you graduate.
I
You can
agree.
be a
I
QA
agree.
engineer. You can be working in, you know, analytics work, or such as, you know, business analyst, data analyst, operation analyst, and, you know, like compensation analyst. There's so many roles that you can do. So how do you narrow down your career goal? That's the problem. So it took me a while to figure out what I want to do for my career. That's why I always suggest my colleagues to start a career early, because when you are young, like, it's okay to make mistake and, you know, make sure that you learn something from it. So I spent almost 2 years working in the front end web development, and, you know, after that, I got some experience from that. Like, oh, what I like and what I don't like doing this, and, you know, based on that, I make this decision on, you know, what career that I should do for my what job that I should do for my career.
Right.
And I know a lot of students have this question, like, how can I do an internship? How can I find a job while I'm still in school? And yeah, there's so many opportunities out there, especially if you live and you go to school in Bay Area, like
Right.
the tech half of the world. So I found my internship while I was in school by, you know, reaching out to like random people on LinkedIn, asking them, you know, I'm studying this program. I know this technical skills, and I'm looking for, you know, an opportunity to intern for you guys. Like, you know, just like it's never hurt when you try. Or you can like find volunteering opportunities in a nonprofit organization. I used to volunteer as the data management coordinator at Boys and Girls Club in San Francisco. No, you need to start somewhere. you know, and like a lot of people asking me, oh, what do you need to study to become a data analyst or like to get your foot into the industry? Um, there's so many resources out there. Like, you know, make sure like you store somewhere because I spend a lot of time like learning on my own. So I believe it or not, like I learned like more about SQL and Tableau and Google Data Studio from a online courses, like from Udemy courses. And in instead of spending time like watching Netflix or like doing something fun, I decided to do something that will provide me transferable skills for my career, and something that that's helpful for me later on. Yeah.
Interesting. Omar, I know that for you, it has been also really exciting to find your career in your role, right? We had discussion about this before. So what would you like to share?
Yeah, definitely. I've had like I've worked in a lot of stuff. During college, I was finance major. Well, let's back up. When I moved to the States, I was an aviation major. It's like, oh, went to went to City College first, a couple of classes in SFO, didn't like it. Okay, go finance. Did two internships in private equity and very boring, didn't like it. And then I joined management. I was like, okay, maybe I like it. I really like the idea of analyzing companies. I loved it until I met your class. I was like, okay, well, I didn't do well here. I wasn't sure exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm about to graduate. I have a lack of technical skills. What should I do? Then I found, I don't know, I learned on my own. My brother is a software engineer and he keeps always motivating me to kind of code and learn specifically in JavaScript and Node.js, right? I kept practicing, and then I found a company, self-driving vehicle, and then this is exactly where I learned all my skills. And then kind of kept moving forward. Like, what do I really like? Do I really like programming all the time? Because do you really like sitting 8 hours behind a screen, or do you really like to go around the chat, coffee chat? But so it's pretty much your call here, right?
Right.
When it comes to the industry and what you want to do, and especially for students who don't have a lot of experience in the resume, you need to just, as everybody said here, to get your foot into the door. Once you get your foot into the door, what happens is you will be assigned tasks. It doesn't matter what tasks are. Try to do really good at it, finish it quickly, and then ask your manager what else I can help with. This is my case in EA. Not only I do quality assurance, I do more of this stuff. I really can't speak to the role because it's very confidential at the moment. It's bad, but yeah. What happened next is, okay, I finished my task. What can I do next? Can I help engineers with couple of scripts? Can I really kind of see the roles, see what they're doing, helping with minor stuff? One of the things we do is, one of the tests that we do actually is basically a script that runs a viewpoints of a game, right? These viewpoints bring stats. These stats are really unorganized. So I was looking at these stats and I was asking myself, well, how can I really, from my knowledge, can express or present these stats to these engineers so they can look at it instead of looking at thousands of numbers. You can look maybe at a graph and then, oh, well, we need to do better. I throw an idea. It's like, oh, I know how to do pivot tables and I know how to do charts. How about this? I can start from here. And then, yeah, for sure, they gave me a chance. I did it. They liked the idea because we really I saved a couple of 20 minutes of their time looking at unorganized charts. Then later it's like, okay, well, we need to integrate something called Looker for data analysts. They know what Looker is. Looker is a data analyst platform where you can work with SQL and build the dashboards. I got up leverage with working a little bit with it and analyzing, which is really cool. And then I kind of moved up the ladder little bit by little bit, where I ended up, doing what I'm doing at the moment, which is like testing code and testing the newest features and deploying on different devices, deploying on different consoles, which is really fun. It does require you to take initiative in the company. So you gotta build a reputation that you're trustable, you're always there, you can do it, and what's the word? You're hungry to learning, right? But my kind of final advice to you for students who don't have a lot of experience is to volunteer. It's sad truth. Like when you apply to jobs and they don't see experience, they're gonna say like, okay, well, why would I spend this much of money on someone who doesn't have experience where I can pay the same thing for someone who could do the job? I would always highly encourage people to volunteer. I did volunteer for free. Yes, it sucks to not have money for something you do for free in your own time, but I did volunteer, and I did boost my knowledge and put it on my resume. I was proud of it. I told them like I did volunteer and I know how to do stuff, which they liked.
Yeah.
I could tell you like my interview, I interviewed with 20 people to get the current job that I had. 20 people. They give me a lot of stress. And I had the total of 5 interviews. On every interview, I thought I'm gonna fail. I'm not gonna do it. They asked me so hard questions that I didn't know. But at the end of the day, I learned that actually they really wanted to work with me personally, even though I lacked a couple of technical skills, like write a script for an automated example. Here's an example. One of the questions that I was asked. Let's say like you're in the lobby of a game, and then we have a lack of real players. How can you write a script to fill up the lobby with bots? So thinking about this gave me like, when you black out and then you don't know what to say. That was me. That was really me for like 20 minutes. And I started saying stuff that I don't know. I started saying right and left, nonsense stuff, which was embarrassing. And then I closed the Zoom meeting, and I was like, that's it. I failed the interview. But then a week later, I got the job, which is really cool. I really was proud of myself, even though I knew I messed up something. So yeah, my advice to you is just to volunteer, apply as much as you can. LinkedIn is really important. Reach out to people, be interested. Fix your resume to be matching the job description. Don't just send a resume that is applicable for all type of jobs. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
you have to go. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, sorry. Interestingly, we had this discussion, like, because for this class, we had another guest speaker who talked about like how to develop CV and so on. And she, at some point, I mean, in part of her presentation, mentioned about one thing that, well, be vigilant during your interview. And this is one of the most, really important things that I've heard in that, presentation, or it was really interesting for me as well, because meaning that sometimes during the interviewee don't want to necessarily, puzzle you or challenge you and so on. Sometimes they are giving you hints because they like you. They want to actually, be on board in the team. So, be vigilant about the tips that the interviewer is giving to you during the interview process. But it's interesting. You guys wanted to add something, or?
Yeah, I want to add one thing.
Yeah.
So regarding the resume things, so if you don't want, like, if you don't know what to study for the job that you want, you should use the job description as your study guide.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
like, and you can easily like get a job description on LinkedIn, like on Indeed, like on any like job platforms.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, Sarah, you wanted to say something also?
Well, I wanted to say that if you're applying for a technical role where you're going to have some type of coding challenge or something like that, there are some online websites that can help you with this, where you can practice.
Right.
You can also just, even if you're not applying for a technical role and you just want to like practice your coding skills, there's a few up there. One of my favorites is sleepcode.com, but there are others that you can just try and practice. That's it.
And one important note: never lie in your resume, because they're gonna catch you.
Yeah.
They're gonna ask you the question. For example, you say C++. Okay, in the job interview, they're gonna ask you. There we go, C++. Fix it up, and then you'll stutter. You'll know that you're actually messing up. So yeah, that's a really good advice.
Yeah, please keep in mind that like whatever you mention on your resume, that's going to be some question about that during the interview. So if you don't know it, make sure you don't mention it in your resume.
Yeah, a lot of time, like I received this question that why should I study for my interview day? And I'm like, your CV, because they're going to ask you definitely the things that you put on your CV. So make sure that you know that what is on that CV. Interesting. So that's actually lead me to my next question to you guys. And again, like feel free to jump in, whoever wanted to start talking about this. there are lots of material out there on how to develop, CV, and how the interview process is, and so on. What are the success factors for the jobs? Lots and lots of different material. By the way, CSLD, our career center, like they have done pretty good job over the past couple of years. Kudos to Orlando and his team. Prepared lots of very good material on their website, so definitely see their website, guys. Very interesting, good material on how to develop your CV, how to prepare CV, how to prepare for the interview, and all those stuff. So again, I don't want to go in that direction because there are lots of material on that. But what I would like you guys to share with us is those maybe name 3, 4 maximum success factor for you, both the things that was helping you to be successful in the job market, both in terms of your curricular activities that you did and the extracurricular activities that you did during your coursework, or maybe that period that you were preparing for the job market and applying. What was those factors that for you specifically was really helpful, that helped you to got your positions or be successful in general? Maybe start this time from Prayura. That was
Yeah. So as far as for extracurricular activities, I think I did volunteer. I was volunteering at SF State for building the app that we have right now. I was doing the marketing analysis for that. And then and I was part of a lot of groups. EMSA was one of them. And then I didn't really do much as far as doing like extracurricular activities. I did do courses on Coursera. That was really helpful. I did do like a couple courses, and I had some certification from Google. It was mostly for like Google platform, like Google Analytics, Google Cloud, API, and all sorts of stuff like that. Those really helped me out because that would always stood out. Like in terms of when I would go to interview, they would always see that, and they would always be interested, and always they would almost like 9 out of 10, they would always ask me about, what is this? Like, when did you get this? Do you still know how to do this? And all sorts of things like that. And then I think having some kind of unique courses or some kind of unique skills in your resume would really help you in order to be like successful, and also like to stand out in a lot of like, especially right now, I feel like it's like an employer's market where they're being very picky and choosy about who to hire and who not to hire. Over here, you really want to stand out, like by doing free courses. You don't necessarily have to pay to get these courses. And I think having those courses along with like some kind of volunteering work would be really helpful. That was kind of like what I had walked through. And I think some of my other colleagues, peers over here will be more knowledgeable about that one.
Sure. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, I can go next. So for me, I think being active in student organizations is one of the thing that every one in the classroom can do it now, because that's something that you can add on your resume to improve your leadership skills. And besides that, school is great, but that's just the foundation. Like all the professors, all the program, like give you the foundation of the subject, like for example about data science, about project management. And from there, like you need to like explore it a little bit further in order to know like what direction you want to do, or like take advantage of the foundation that all the professor like provide you. Also besides that, I have been taking a lot of like online courses. So like on Coursera, or like on edX, the X education, the XX, And like before the interview, if I want to refresh my mind, I usually do a quick course on Udemy. It's like, just like refresh your mind before the interview. And also, when you look for a job, you should do a little bit like research about the resume format. Like for example, like on the resume, you should mention about, 1 or 2 lines on the top of your resume, mention about what you're looking for. Because there's sometimes like people look at your resume and they just don't know what what position you're looking for.
Right.
And the second thing to keep in mind is that you need to use, some keywords for your resume. And how do you find that keywords? You can use the job description as a study guide, like I mentioned earlier. Other than that, just try to start your career like the sooner the better.
Right.
Yeah.
Although like I do agree with the previous two answers, I do argue that you need projects, right? So let's say like you're trying to be a data analyst, and you spent like the past 3 years in college and courses and stuff, and then you apply for a job, and then you don't have a project. It'll be really bad on you. Like, what have you done during the time? I don't need you to know the terminology and the theory behind the fact that you know how to discuss, but I want to see projects. Personally, I've built 6 projects. I'm gonna share, and I built a website, I throw the projects on the website, and I throw live demos, so that way, like, think about it as a resume.
Do you want to share something?
No, not share, but you could actually click on it individually if you would like.
Sure.
I did build this by myself, and I showed it as my resume, as my project. This is what I've been spending my last time doing. So definitely there's a, I don't want to say like better than courses, because you take the courses to learn how to do that, but build projects, even though they don't look great and they're really basic.
You're talking about like building a portfolio for yourself type of thing.
Portfolio that has a project, or two, because as a data analyst, like, I mean, or like any software engineer or any type of industry that you want to go through it, right? Even if you want to be a writer, right? Today's resume, only to send a resume is not enough. They want portfolio, right?
Yeah,
unfortunately. And
I
having that is
agree
really
with you on
important.
that. Yeah. Sorry. Just one thing I want to add, like when you take a course, like they will provide you like, all the basic skills that you need to know. And based on that, like during the course, they may provide you some like, guided projects. You can practice first, and then for data science, and later on you can build your own like projects based on the knowledge that you learn from the course. And for data science, you can, build your portfolio on Kaggle or on GitHub. Like there's so many platforms that you can, build your projects on. Yeah, and that will be very helpful for you at the interview.
I think I want to add one thing that actually had caught my eye, caught an eye of a interviewer, is you can actually print out not like all of your projects, but like the projects that could be very relevant to the job that you are interviewing for, and take that project with you, a hard copy, and then just present it to them when you are talking about a project. When they ask you a question about, like, tell us about a project that you've worked on, and you can literally take out the hard copy and show them, like, this is the code I've worked on, and explain them what you did, how you did it, and they can look at it in front of them, rather than like going back and, people forget, people just would not check and stuff like that. It would be like at the moment. So I think you can really leave like a good mark in front of an interviewer when you do that as well, taking the projects with you, the important ones.
Interesting. Yeah. So Sarah?
Yes. So for me, in terms of activities, when I was in undergrad, number one, I think it was just being, vice president at AMSA, and networking was a huge help for me, because I met so many people there. I know networking might not be so easy right now, but just, be active on LinkedIn, reach out to people, just I guess one of the things that I really like to see in LinkedIn is when students are writing articles about anything. So if you're taking a course and you learn something new, or if you're working on a project, just write an article and post it online, and create that can be part of your portfolio as well. And it's also good for like building up your image, and that it's kind of like networking as well, because then people would like reach out to you through your articles. Getting a mentor, actually, it's also something that is very, very important. If you have somebody that you know in the industry and that they're willing to help, you can ask them to be your mentor. It doesn't have to be like you can meet with them like once a month or so. One of the things that helped me a lot is that when I was building my resume, I actually sent my resume in my cover letter and everything to one of the persons working at SAP. Is to Jan, and he was willing to like go over my resume and tell me, you know what, your resume needs this adjustments. And right after I made those adjustments, I like literally got like 3 different interviews right after that. So don't overestimate the power of having a mentor and somebody that it's been doing this for many, many years. So I think those 2 in regards to activities. Another thing is that I was working. As I had a side job when I was in university, so I didn't have the time to like build my my projects or anything like that. So if you're in this position like I was before, I was working full-time student. I didn't have time to like work on like my own personal projects. Don't feel discouraged. I was at that position too. I was thinking, oh man, I don't have something to show, right? Like I was so busy literally working full-time and going to school full-time. But some interviewers will actually ask you about a situation at your job. So even if you're working as a waitress, or if you're working in retail or anything like that, they might ask you like, what would you do in this situation in your current job, So just try to maybe, yes, work on your resume on the side, work on your projects on the side. But if you're too busy working full-time, just don't feel like you need to like just drop everything and work on that as well. You can definitely overcome that by showing your skills as a person, right? And how you're able to problem solve things as well. So that's one of the things that helped me a lot. So 3 of my interviews, my interviewers asked me, how would you solve this problem with the skills that you currently have, right? So just work on that too. Communication skills is also that is very important. I'm an introvert. I like to be cozy. I like to be home. I didn't like to be in front of people or anything like that. And I had to get out of my comfort zone, I had to get out there every single time that I got invited to either a networking event or a conference or anything like that. I was like, oh, maybe I don't feel so happy about going. But I just got out of my comfort zone. And right after I just, did that, it just became like this big thing of, oh my God, I was missing on so much stuff. So if you're also an introvert like I was before, you just have to break it. You just have to break it and get out there. I know it might not be comfortable at first, and you might feel a little bit awkward, but you'll be grateful if you do that.
Since Jan's name came up, I'd like to, in fact, take the time and thank you, our IS Industry Advisory Group. For those of you who may not know, in the IS department, we have like an army of people, like Prashant, Jan, and Andrea, and others, we meet them like at least once per semester. And they are very experienced people in the industry that they really give us, and we have like exchange over a dinner or something. Now it's COVID time, obviously we had it on the Zoom, but and their support has been always with us, with the department. And here I'd like to actually thank their generous time, and also always like knowledge-wise and so on. About that. All right. Now, I know that some of you guys have some other mandates. So I may wanted to continue this because I would like people to also to answer people's questions. So Guys, if you have questions, please feel free to put it on the chat room, and I'm going to read it for the panelists, and maybe they have your answers. Now, my last question, specifically for all of you, and again, like, feel free to drop off of the call if you really have other mandates. My last question is that, was there any specific thing that you wish you have done when you were at this stage? Maybe like the last courses or the last semesters that you thought that really would have been made a difference. One or two things that you wish you would have done. Maybe share that. And also, what I'd like you guys again to think about is there anything that you thought that maybe the department or the college would have done that might have also helped you? Something that we could maybe, as like the college and as the department, can work on, and to help you guys or the next generation basically to become like you or have successful career path.
I'd like to start because I have to have a couple of meetings after this.
Sure.
Well, let's go to the second question. We're like, I think particularly my concentration didn't have really a lot of support in terms of internships, right? Other universities do have aligned internships. I wish our university has offered us something like one year out of the 3 years is mandatory internship, right? Like Europe. A lot of European universities offer this. This would be really helpful for the students to gain experience. So yeah, also like a lot of, I mean, I personally didn't have a lot of time because I have to go to work after school or before school. So I wish I was able to, explore more of the hidden clubs at school that actually give you really good experience. And I figured it's so funny because I actually discovered most of them during my last semester, but it was kind of late. Before to the first question, we're like, what I wish I had before stepping into these, especially for someone like me who is indecisive. I want to call myself indecisive because it's not a bad thing necessarily. I wish I had a mentor or a person, my parents are not here. They didn't go to college. So I wish I had someone who could have told me like, okay, this is where I want you to go. This is what it is. This industry expect this and that, instead of doing my own research, because your own research could depending on who you're talking to, you're reading, it could affect you negatively or give you a boost of positivity. I wish I had this. That was my major thing, because I took the decisions, I fall and I stood up, I wanted to change, and I never gave up. I was like, why not? It's, 2 to 3 years of my life going for waste of bad decisions is not a bad thing, because what matters is now, what matters is later. You'll be surprised how older people in your team are who made very late transition. So yeah, don't be, just as long as you're committed and you could, you're that person who could say like, okay, I'm going to stop, I'm going to change, you should be fine. And yeah, my final note is thank you, Nasser, for having us. I really enjoyed this. Hopefully we can always do this every semester and encourage people. Hopefully we grow as you guys grow. I would like to share, I will share my email in the bottom right there on my LinkedIn. Please feel free to reach out to me for resume, for advisors, for anything you think that I'm capable of giving you. I'll be able to, share to the best of my knowledge, to what I know, and hopefully we could, support our university that has given us so much in the past years. And thank you especially for you, Nasser. I really appreciate it. And it was nice to meet you too.
Well, thank you guys. I mean, it was a great thing. I mean, we still, maybe if you guys have time, and we're still gonna continue for maybe half an hour or more. But like, I would like to thank you guys, because again, like this is something that I have become a little bit again like more interested in. So I would definitely ping you guys again back to have more of these fireside chat type of style, because this is really common in our industry, and I'd like us to have more of this, to share more again your experience, your wisdom, some of the things that you have done either wrong or right, which helped to where you are today. I'm sure like these are going to be the same, and really good for other graduates or students. Well, thank you very much, Omar. I don't know if you guys have like maybe a couple of more minutes or to share your final thoughts. And
yeah,
See you later.
so yeah, thank you, Omar. I kind of have like about 20 minutes. I know I don't know if that's enough for like the Q&A and this whole thing.
It's great. It's great. Again, like maybe your final thoughts. Again, I had like scheduled this for an hour for you guys, so it was already like really wonderful. But any final things that you would like to share? Maybe again, like reflect on the last question that I made.
Yeah. Definitely. I think I totally agree with Omar. I kind of struggled with like not having a mentor as well. It was just something that I had to research on my own. And like I said earlier, like I really wanted, like I wish something like this was available back when we were like at like, at the university, and something like this would be really helpful for like students now, because they can look up and say like, okay, this is what they did. Maybe we can follow this. Something like this that we didn't have, I wish I had. And I think what like the student department can do, or like I think just information system department, is like the internship. I know like we even talked about it. I was looking for internship right after. I think it was my last semester when I was trying to do that class, and I was really looking for it. I couldn't find it anywhere, and I went to student services or the career services, what they have there. I forgot her name, but she would tell me like it never comes out for like any internship for IT, and it was just hard for us to get anything, and it was only a small group of people. I remember like when we were graduating, it was only about like 200 students in information system major. So I think something like that, if it was available, it would really help out students. Something I would have done different is maybe I wish I had more time to like join all these amazing clubs, or knew about these clubs, like student organization. Honestly, for me, it was almost like end of semester, or the like my last year, senior year, was the year that I found out about all these organizations. And it was, by that time it was too late, because you're overwhelming with the classes. You're taking like almost 5-6 classes to graduate on time in summer. And I think one thing I regret is like I was overwhelming myself the senior year with a lot of classes. Don't do that, guys, because it's very overwhelming. It's just hard and you take all the classes together. I guess like those are some of my thoughts about like how, like how I would have wanted things to be different. But overall, I think everyone should, enjoy this school life, because right after getting out of school, life hits you in a good way, not in a bad way.
It gets serious, right?
Yes, it really gets serious. And then, I mean, I get it. Like this whole pandemic has changed a lot in job market, and it'll be hard to like get internship or to get a job. Most of the jobs, people have been reaching out to me, and pretty much everything is virtual now. From like your interview to even job itself, they're doing it all the way till next year. Everything is going to be from home. Don't overwhelm yourself. Try doing networking. I would highly recommend do like a virtual meetups. Meetup is one of the best tool that I think they're still doing virtual meetups for the students and for like the people in the industry. Leverage your network to meet up new people to the jobs that you are applying to, or just even reach out to your network, reach out to them and then ask them if they have any openings or if they're hiring, because word of mouth is one of the best way to actually get the jobs. And I'm going to leave my email address here as well. Please feel free to reach out to me about your resume, about the industry, if you need any advice. Yeah, I'll drop it up here in my.
You guys also can connect with them on LinkedIn. I think that's also really.
Yeah, I'll drop my LinkedIn profile and my email address here, so you guys can connect with me there. And thank you so much, Dasher, for doing hosting all of this. This is amazing. I hope like all the students are like, are going to like really like this, and hopefully it's helpful for them as well.
Yeah. I'm hopeful the same thing. So, Lucero, then.
Yeah, I can go next.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So I guess to answer the first questions, I think I should have looked for internships early on, because I waited till last minute to look for internships. Again, life was very busy when I was a junior or senior. So I kind of just put everything to like last minute. And the only reason why I got an internship, because to get an internship, you usually have to be a student, and I was already graduating. So it was a bit tough to get an internship right when I was graduating. But then I decided to go for a master's. So then everything worked out at the end. But I guess one of the things that I could have done different is start looking when I was a junior, and maybe the beginning of senior year. So not wait till last minute. Another thing that I could have done differently is to start, developing my coding skills and more of a technical background early on, instead of now being in the position where I'm learning as I go. And I mean, that's also fine. You don't have to know everything. You can learn as you go, and you can also be honest with the company that you are. It's like, hey, I'm learning, and I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to put all my power to learn this thing. So you can also be honest and say that I'm learning, and it's okay not to know things. But it would have been easier to start working on those skills early on.
That's right.
And the second question, I think again it ties back to the internship. So finding internship was very, very tough. So it would be great if we could have kind of internships very, very early on, not even wait for senior year, since junior year. That also helps you to expose to different types of jobs, so you're not switching your career at the very last minute. You can also just kind of get like a feel of what different jobs are out there, and kind of see what you like from very early on. And in regards to maybe this is just more of a personal thing, but I would have liked more of the security courses and I because we only have one, I think, network security, and that was the course that made me change. I like the course.
Yeah, right.
Who was teaching that? Who was teaching that at the time?
That was
John Owen?
Yeah, and yes, Professor Owen, and also there was one about I forgot the last course. I'll get back to you. I forgot the last course name. It was also about network, not network security, but about networking.
Yes.
And those two courses were the ones that completely changed my world, right? So and I took those two courses at the last of my senior year. So right after I went into those courses, I was like, okay, now I need to change to something else because I really like this. So maybe having those courses early on can help you decide your career as well. Yeah, so those are the things that I wish I could have done since the beginning.
Interesting. But the good news is that we have developed, the department have developed a new network security, cybersecurity certificate. So if you guys, some of you are interested as Lucera, similar to Lucera, so we have right now, I guess, the graduate certificates, and also I think we have it for the undergrad. Maybe I'm wrong, but like that's the good news. I guess.
Very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry to cut you guys off, but I have to go. I have
Sure.
other finish. But thank you so much, guys, and thank you, Nasser.
Thank you.
Bye, Pereira.
Bye. Dan?
Yeah. For me, what I wish I would have done in the past is to join student organization earlier. Because I learned a lot of like soft skills from being the leader in the group. Like so when you go look for a job, like a lot of team, they're looking for somebody that is easily adapt to the the current team, like can like learn a new thing quick. And those skills you can prepare while you are in school by joining student organizations. um, Regarding my recommendation for the department, I think it would be great if we can create our own network to connect current student with the current professionals in the industry. Because I know a lot like people graduated from SF State, they also would love to give back to school as well.
Right.
Yeah, after graduated, I reached out to a guy who been in data analytics at uh, First Republic Bank or for like 5 or 6 years, and like because like he also graduated from information system major, so like he helped me out a lot. Like he even referred me to the bank, like to his team as well. So I think that's the resources that the department can build something to take advantage of our like student
Yeah.
network.
So
And also,
connecting with the alumni and
yeah, because
building
I know a lot of people are willing to give back to school, give back to SF State, and also because a lot of like people they know about EMSA in the very like last semester. And so I think this would be great if a department can work with the student or leaders of EMSA, like better to advertise the group to like all the students, and also help them to invite the guest speakers or like organize something like that help students to guide a career. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, so definitely, yeah, thank you very much for the feedback. Because again, like we are at department trying to be agile on that aspects. I know that Manny and others are doing very good job on, in terms of having a database of alumni and make that, mentorship or networking programs. But in fact, we at the departments are also doing some stuff to in fact, making that connection easier, and we have some plans in mind. Hopefully, we can implement them soon. So but anyway, I mean, listen, thank you guys very much. This was a very interesting. I really loved and enjoyed, discussing these topics with you guys. And it was really fruitful for me, and I'm sure it has been really for the others. And again, I'd like to thank you to share your time with us. Guys, feel free to connect with Din and Lucero and Omer and Priora. These guys have been really successful in their career, and I'm sure they don't hesitate to share with you more and build connections. So thank you again. I would like to invite you again for next meetings. Right now, I'd like to, take the opportunity for inviting you again back. But again, I really appreciate that you guys accepted to participate in this panel. And on behalf of everyone in my class and all the people who joined, really, I would like to thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for
Thank
having
you.
us. And yeah, I'm willing to help you in the next class, like if
Absolutely.
if there's no time conflicts.
Absolutely. Again, like
Yeah.
I said, I'd like to do this more. So I would definitely reach out to you guys to have some, one-on-one, some other stuff that we make. We to be able to create some content. Obviously, time is like a barrier here. So, but again, like we're trying our best to, create some content for either our social media or our, website and so on. I think these contents would be really good to stay there. And if you don't mind, actually, I'm gonna share, the video of this with everyone else. Is that okay for you guys?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you everybody for being here and listening to us. I really
Thank you.
appreciate that. You can connect with me through LinkedIn. You can send me a message. If you feel like you need a mentor or just need some guidance, feel free to do so. I'm very also passionate about cybersecurity, as you can tell. So if you are as well, reach out to me. Maybe I can give you some guidance. There are some further education that you can do if you're interested in that. Also, don't underestimate YouTube. You guys, YouTube is
Yes.
amazing. There's so many free resources out there that you can learn from. So just keep pushing for it. And even if you feel like it's too late to like change to something else, don't feel like it's too late, because anybody can switch to other field if you're really passionate about things.
Right. Well, thank you. I'd like to also thank.
I have my LinkedIn link in the chat box, in the message box. So please reach out to me if you are interested in connecting on LinkedIn and you want to learn more about data science, like analytics jobs. And yeah, I have to drop the call here. I have meeting at 2:30. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Nice
Really
meeting you guys.
Thank you.
I hope it's helpful for all the students in the class.
It was definitely. Thank you. Bye, sir. I'd like also to thank Dr. Wong, who joined us. Miu is really always supportive in different in different initiatives. So Miu, thank you very much to be here. I really appreciate that. I hope you also enjoyed.
Thank you. I also want to thank the panelists. So it's really nice to see all of you. So please come back and talk to our students and us.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I also have a meeting soon, so I will drop. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye. All right, the rest of the students, stay tuned. We haven't done yet with the class, so this is a class. So I'm just gonna stop our recording. So again, for the people who have joined, bye, Miu. Thank you.
Bye, and enjoy the class, everyone, and the holidays. Be safe. Bye now.
Bye. All right, so I'm just gonna stop the recording for